This week's drag racing programme has moved. We're still here in the United Kingdom, but the whole drag racing organisation has decamped from Centrepod Raceway and has moved lock, stock and supercharger to Warwickshire. We're here at the newly resurfaced Avon Park Raceway. Let's find out who's racing here this weekend.
It's the second round of the European Top Fuel Championship. The first round of European Top Alcohol. We'll be with those 200 miles per hour door slammers, the Pro Modifieds. Taking a look at funny cars. And then a ride with their two-wheel cousins, the funny bikes. But first of all, let's move into Top Fuel and see how everybody stood after the qualifying. In our first round, the number one qualifier, Rico Antes from Germany, meets Great Britain's Gary Page. Jens Nebo was the number two qualifier and meets another Brit, Andy Carter, in the first round. And two Swedes, Vivica Averstad, who was the number three qualifier, meets Pelle Lindelöf. So this is our first pair coming up to the line, Britain's Gary Page. He's up against Rico Antes, the man everybody thinks will run the first four in Europe. Well, Gary Page has only just moved up into this class. Let's see how he gets on against Rico Antes. Leaves the line well, but immediately goes up in smoke. Rico has a problem with his car. It looks like one of the banks of cylinders went down there. Watching in slow motion, just look at the power of these 5,000 horsepower engines. Absolutely twitching those chassis. Problem for Gary. Rico, luckily, with that problem for Gary, also has a problem, but takes the win. He moves into the next round. Well, here's Jens Nebo, the young man from Denmark, liked by everybody, up against the man from Great Britain, Andy Carter. Now, Andy has moved up into Top Fuel from racing Ford Tops, would you believe, and is starting to carve a bit of a name for himself. But Nebo drives through a lot of tyre smoke there to take a very, very convincing win with a run of 5.38 at 271 miles per hour. And you can see here that Andy Carter has problems on the start line. And that's, once again, just as well for Jens Nebo. He overpowered the track. This is our final pair of semi-finalists in Top Fuel. The Valvoline car of Vivica Averstad against fellow countryman Pelle Lindelöf. Well, Vivica's been having some problems this season, but Pelle breaks on the start line and allows Vivica to take a very, very smoky win. But at what a time, 5.29, 232 miles per hour. That's the quickest time that we've ever seen here at Avon Park. Well, we move on into the one and only race in the semi-finals in Top Fuel. Purely because Rico Antes has got a bye run through into the final by virtue of the fact that he was our number one qualifier. Jens Nebo and Vivica Averstad have to battle to see who goes into the final to race him. Now, Vivica was the lady who beat Rico in the first final of the year at Centrepod. So it will be interesting to see whether she can get back into the final again, and they're away together. And once again, Jens Nebo goes up in smoke, but a problem for Vivica Averstad. She will not be going into the final. And Jens takes the win with a 5.55 at 262 miles per hour. Very, very consistent. So our final is set up like this. Rico gets through on a bye run, and Jens Nebo beats Vivica Averstad to meet Rico for the championship points.
Rico, suddenly everything is looking so good for you now.
Yeah, actually the weather's looking good, the track's looking good, but the last run didn't look so good because we broke the rear end and over-revved the engine, and got lucky that Gary smoked the tires and didn't run by me.
So the actual rear end of the car is broken. Is it repairable?
Well, I got a spare rear end with me, so that's not the problem. It's just a time question. Can we get it back together in time? But it shows that, well, we're making power and the track holds some power, and it actually just sheared it off like with a hacksaw.
Really? I mean, that shows you 5,000 horsepower going through to the back axle, doesn't it?
Actually, they do, and the track holds it kind of at the start line.
Well, we now move into the first round of European Top Alcohol. And the big surprise this weekend has been Peter Schofer from Germany, being our number one qualifier, comparative unknown. Barry Schiebels, also a shock. He was knocked out in the first round by the flying Finnish lady, Anita Michaela. Let's just have a look at that race. Michaela furthest from the camera. Sheebles asleep on the line. Runs exactly the same time as Anita Michaela, 6.15, but unfortunately lost that on the start line.
Barry Sheebles, you're looking very, very dejected, and to me it looked as though for the first time for as long as I can remember, Barry the Bullet fell asleep on the line.
Yeah, you're right. I'm going to hold my hands up to this one. Said before, you know, like, whole thing's about having a team, and I'm afraid I've let my team down badly. Yeah.
Because the time on the run was perfect, wasn't it? It was exactly what you were looking for.
Exactly. You know, I've got so many things going through my mind at the time. I've been having serious tyre shake problems. And I was thinking, well, have we got everything right? And no excuses, it was my fault. I pulled a really, really poor light. I think it's the worst light I've ever pulled in my life. And, you know, you don't win races on poor lights. Races are actually won on the start line, and I lost that one, yeah, big time.
Okay, just one quick point then, because to leave you to commiserate with yourself. Yeah. Is the car better now? Because it certainly looked as though it was on a storming run.
Yeah, well, I think, obviously, you know, we have had a few problems, and we decided this year that we were going to go for consistency. We changed quite a few parts, and it seems to be going really quick, but then we couldn't keep the power to the track. It was shaking, and you know the story. It's you know, sent my brain a bit funny, and you know, that sort of thing. But you know, I think we got it together. And the trouble with drag racing is, you know, you can change one thing, and it doesn't alter anything. And so you've got to keep trying one thing at a time. And every time you try something, it's another run, another run, another run. And hopefully we've now found what the problem was, and it was like I was explaining, it's all in that clutch.
So Anita marches on into the semi-finals, where she meets an old adversary, Sweden's Michael Kagerad with a Mustang funny car. Well, the Buracaps lady burns out. Kagerad had got through into this round by beating Great Britain's Rob Turner, a 6.13 to a 6.26. So he's really on form here this weekend. And he's away in front of Anita Michaela and takes a very, very comfortable win with a time of 6.22. Anita Michaela losing out with an off-form 6.61. But that's a good straight run from Michael Kagerad with that Ford Mustang.
Are you looking for the championship in 1996? Are you one of the front runners, do you think? Or is there a lot of heavy competition out there now?
It's always a lot of heavy competition over the years, but yeah, it's tough. Every year is tougher and tougher, and but I love it, and I'm pleased with it. But it's very hard.
In our second pair, we've got Alan Jackson from Great Britain against the new boy, Peter Schofer from Germany. Well, Peter's been crew chiefing on quite a few other people's machines, but this is the first time that we've seen him here in competition in the UK. Alan Jackson, a man that we have seen previously riding Pro Stock bike, is now very, very comfortable in this Oldsmobile Achiever. It should be a close race between these two. The green comes on, and once again it's Schofer who gets the whole shot away from Al Jackson, and Jackson just does not have the power to catch up this man. Schofer runs the quickest time of the day so far, 6.07, and it's straight as an arrow. So our final is set up like this. Peter Schofer beats Alan Jackson to go through into the final, where he will meet Michael Kagerad from Sweden and have lane choice by virtue of that low 6.07 run. Well, if you like your cars still to have doors but be capable of running 200 miles per hour in 6 seconds, then the Pro Mods are for you. Pro Modifieds featuring all of these door slammers, and our #1 qualifier here this weekend, straight from the trailer, Alan Packman with a Ford Granada Scorpio running straight down into the 6s, speeds around about 200 miles per hour. By virtue of the fact that he is our #1 qualifier, he gets a bye run into the semi-finals. Well, Mr. Packman, you can call me Al, has won this championship so many times in the past, and as always with these Pro Modifieds, they like to give a little bit of a show. And one of the big aspects of the show are the rolling burnouts. But don't take anything away from these cars. They're not just show cars, they're go cars as well. And Al Packman goes through on a run, looking for lane choice in the next round. 690 at 202 miles per hour. Well, here we have a Toyota furthest away from the camera against an Oldsmobile Cutlass. Nick Davis is in the Cutlass. Bert Englefield is in the Toyota with lots and lots of problems. And it's Davis who takes a very convincing win, 7.11 at 105 miles per hour. It's a real mix and match in Pro Modified. We've got Dave Mingay with his Hellraiser 4 Calibra closest to the camera. Furthest away, the Rover 800 Coupe of Andy Robinson with problems on the start line, allowing Dave to solo through in the left-hand lane with a run of 7.23, 159 miles per hour. And ignominiously, Andy Robinson's car gets pushed back into the pits. Once again, big smoky outs from these cars. The crowd love this. Very difficult for the crew, however, to find their way back to the track. But this is our next pair, closest to the camera, the Final Demand, the 1967 Camaro of Gordon Appleton. These cars run in something like 11,500 cc's. The man in the opposing lane with the other Calibra, Michael Cheeley, the smallest engine in the class at 8,500 cc's. And that was on that run. Gordon Appleton takes the win, 7.06, 196 miles per hour. The first of the semi-finals and closest to our vantage point here, Mr. Al Packman. Yes, you can also call him one of the quickest cars here this weekend. They're away together. Nick Davis is in the Cutlass in the green, but he just has not got the power to stay with an on-form Al Packman. 6.90, 203 miles per hour. Who is going to meet Al Packman in the final? Will it be a Camaro? Will it be a small Calibra? It's all General Motors, of course, American and English, and Dave Mingay is away. Just look at the charge that's on the card here from Gordon Appleton. Appleton flies by there, takes the win, 7.06 to Dave Mingay's 7.43, and with that run, Gordon Appleton sets up a final between himself, order of bossman Al Packman.
How do you do it, Al? How do you do it?
Basically, we just always put an own tune into the car. Don't look at the position, we look at the track, tune accordingly, and it just runs sixes, you know.
It's so reliable, isn't it? I mean, to me, you seem to be Fearless Fred of Pro Mod Racing. You come out straight from the trailer. You don't mess around running 6.9, 6.8s.
Yeah, the secret may be the motor's got so much power, basically we don't have to put a big to run sixes. It just runs sixes with a modest tune in it.
So do you find that when you go along to tracks, etc., you're taking power out rather than putting more power in?
This weekend we've actually taken about 200-300 horsepower out because of the track surface.
How have you found the track?
Pretty good. It's pretty loose, but being a new track, it's more than acceptable. But if we put more power into it, we believe we would go slower.
Okay, we're heading towards the final now, and how do you see your chances? You've got Gordon Appleton in the final, and we've seen you two run side by side, 6-second, 200 miles an hour run. It's easy for you.
Will be a very close final. Gordon's just run 2.70s. Obviously they will right this weekend. I'm sure they can find a 10th or so from somewhere. We're leaving 0 tuning it. So leave it to fate, really.
And here's a young man who thinks he might want a funny car pilot. If I was that young man, I'd have second thoughts about wanting to climb into one of those machines. Similarly, I wouldn't like to get on one of these funny bikes. This is the semi-finals of these long, swoopy bodywork machines, turbocharged nitrous oxide engine, which can quite comfortably reach in excess of 107 per hour. That's Chris Hampson getting a whole shot over Jean-Yves Beche from France, powering his on the Suzuki to a win of 7.21, 183 miles per hour, place in the final. He'll meet one of these two. Furthest away, that Rickers. Closest is Neil Midgley. Both of the men on turbocharged Suzukis. Very, very tight indeed between these two as they fire along the quarter mile. It's Mike Vickers takes the win with a time of 7:39 to Neil Midgley's lose out 0.46. Very, very close, but that puts this man, Mike Vickers, in final where he's going to meet this man, last year's funny bike champion, Harrison.
This is only our third meeting, so we've got a lot of stuff still to play about with, some new stuff to go on, so hopefully come the end of the season we should be giving Chris his money, really.
And do you see that him as your number one person you're hitting at all the time?
Oh, I mean, he's been number one for so many years. You just can't phase him. He's terrible. I mean, straight out and qualify with a 7:49, you know, on a qualifier to take the number one position is, you know, quite incredible, really.
Dare I say good luck to you?
Yeah, well, hopefully we won't need any. We should have enough in the bike to take care of him, but...
All right, just good luck.
Thanks a lot.
Well, they come very, very slowly up to the start line, but it's Hampson. Some problems for Vickers. Vickers' bike is sidelined. Chris Hampson takes a comfortable win. 7.43, 173 miles per hour. Does that front ever touch the ground? We move back to Pro Modified, and if you remember, Alan Packman got through by beating Nick to the final, where he's going to meet the all-conquering Gordon Appleton in his...
Gordon, you describe driving your car to me as a Rolls Royce. Now, I've got a funny idea that there's not many Rolls Royces go from 0 to 100 miles per hour in about 1.2 seconds and have an individual gear lever gear.
No, you're probably right there. I don't think I've seen one. When I say it drives like a horse, is a tribute really to Andy Robinson race cars. The car is just so straight, it's like a drive in the park.
At 200 miles per hour, to you, it's arrow straight.
The car is so straight, and it is like driving a Rolls Royce.
Tell us a little bit about this, because you do have 4 individual gear levers, don't you, when you're completing the course?
Yes.
Just run us through just what you would have to do.
We have a clutch the same as any manual car to engage first gear, and to launch the car. We've got 3 other gear levers which we pull down second, third and fourth, and all the work is done in the first 8 mile. 8 mile you should be doing about 4.5 seconds. By then you're doing about 168, 170 miles, and then you just sit back and enjoy the ride.
Both of these guys through the 6-second bracket, both of them very much like to win. Appleton was a man who made his way up into the world of Pro Modified. Strubergas, Al Packman was a streetcar racer. Well, this is very close. It could be anybody's, but it's Packman who just gets the win at the top end, runs an incredible 6.89, 203 miles per hour, and just behind Appleton at 7.08 at 198 miles per hour, and that reinforces Packman's position at the top of the Pro Mod pile this year. Well, here we go into the final of Top Fuel. These smaller versions, if you like, of the Top Fuel cars, producing 2,500 horsepower as opposed to 5,000 of the Top Fuels. Michael Kagerad with the funny car up against the German Peter
Michael Kagerad, top European alcohol champion, and a real fight on your hands in this final here at Avon Park.
Oh yeah, Britain, it has been a great weekend for me so far, and we're to the final.
But this new boy on the block, Peter Schofer from Germany, he is very, very fast. He's running the 6.0s, on the door of the 5s. Have you got a little bit extra left in the car?
I have 5s in the car, but we haven't been able to truck it out yet. But I think we are going to go a little bit faster than 6.30 we did in the quarterfinal, so I look forward to it.
Kagerad should be down, but Schofer has done so well this weekend and has got a problem. Leaves the start, immediately breaks. Kagerad takes a comfortable win, 6.3 at 215 miles per hour. And it looked as though Schofer got tyre shake on the start line, sent the car every which way but straight. Takes the win and the points. We go into the final. Everybody's waiting to see Rico Antes against Nebo in Top Fuel. Bearing in mind that Jens Nebo was the Rookie of the Year and also ended up, as he's just told us, #1 European Top Fuel champion. Rico and always there in the chase. always looking for that championship. Will he get it this year? Got a new crew chief with you. That's Runa Field. Runa working very, very hard. Also crews for Page. So a very hard-working man indeed. Jens Nibo missed the consistency. Always runs the numbers and is a very hard competitor. So coming up to the Jens Nibo from Denmark, Rico Antes from Germany, and Rico was second in that championship round at the main event. So looking this time for major points to tap championship lead. Vivek Avested standing behind there, looking on. These two approach the start line, controlled by the Christmas tree and the track. This is going to tell whether their crew chiefs have got the clutches set right on these cars, so you can transfer all of the power from these 5,000 horsepower engines, this quarter-mile stretch of track here at Avon Park Raceway. First is Rico Antes. Tyre smoke for Jens Nibo, but he just goes through him. It's Nibo who takes it by a whisker at the top end of 584 to a 592, and that was so close.
Was the final? It looked a lot of smoke there at one time.
Yeah, I came away pretty quick, some time I think, and when I got about 200 meters down the track, some smoke, and I saw Rico, and then something broke out, probably his rear end, and I saw and I backpedaled and got him right on the line, I think.
Once again, you're in the points again for 1996. You're feeling pretty happy. And now with this incredible sight here, have you stuck in a traffic top for your car?
Yeah, there's a lot of crowd here in Avon Park, and wonderful. Everybody congratulates us, and it's great.